In today's world, it's easy to feel like we're in a race against time. We're bombarded with images of picture-perfect couples, engagement announcements flooding our social media feeds. It can feel like everyone around us is falling in love, getting married, and starting families. And we haven't even had a second date in months. This constant exposure can create a sense of urgency, a feeling that we are behind schedule when it comes to love. The pressure mounts. We start to question our own worth, wondering why we haven't found the one yet. But what if I told you that this relentless ticking clock is nothing more than an illusion? What if I told you that there's a different way, a path less traveled, where love unfolds in its own perfect timing, a path guided by something far greater than societal expectations or the fear of being alone? There is. And it starts with understanding the profound wisdom of God's timing. We live in a culture obsessed with timelines. Graduate by 21, get married by 25, first child by 28. It's like there's an invisible checklist dictating the right time for every milestone in life, especially when it comes to finding love. But here's the truth. God doesn't work on our timetable. His plans are not bound by our human understanding of time. He sees the bigger picture, the intricate tapestry of our lives, woven together with threads of joy, sorrow, growth, and ultimately, love. Trying to rush love, to force it into our predefined timeline, is like trying to rush a blooming flower. We can pull and tug at the bud, but it will only bloom when it's ready, when the sun has kissed its petals and the rain has nourished its roots. In the same way, love will blossom in its own time, when our hearts are ready, when we've learned the lessons we need to learn, and when we've grown into the people we're meant to be. And this journey, my friends, is far more beautiful and fulfilling than any we could orchestrate on our own. Imagine a garden. Not just any garden, but one tended by the hand of God Himself. This garden represents our lives, our hearts, the fertile ground where love is meant to grow. Just as a gardener carefully prepares the soil, planting seeds at the right time, God too works in our lives, preparing us for the gift of love. He knows the perfect moment for every season, for every bud to appear, for every flower to bloom. He sees the unseen, the potential for growth and beauty within us, even when we ourselves may doubt or struggle to see it. And He tends to us with patience and care, nurturing our spirits with His love and grace. In the book of Ecclesiastes, it says, "There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens." This reminds us that God's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't align with our own desires or timelines. Just as a gardener tends to the soil, we too must cultivate the garden of our hearts. We must create a space where love can flourish, a space free from the weeds of impatience, insecurity, and the pressure to conform. This means taking the time to know ourselves, to understand our own needs, desires, and values. It means learning to love and accept ourselves, flaws and all, for it is in our imperfections that we often discover our greatest strengths. As we cultivate self-love, we become less reliant on external validation, less desperate to find our worth in the eyes of another. We become more secure in who we are and in whom we are created to be. This inner work, this journey of self-discovery and self-acceptance, is essential in preparing our hearts for a love that is true, authentic, and lasting. The patience of the potter. The Bible often uses the analogy of a potter to describe God's work in our lives. In Isaiah 64, verse 8, it says, "Yet you, Lord, are our Father. We are the clay, you are the potter, we are all the work of your hand." Just as a potter patiently molds and shapes the clay, so too does God mold and shape us into the people we are meant to be. He sees our potential, even when we are still a lump of clay, full of imperfections and rough edges. And just as a potter carefully fires the clay in a kiln, allowing it to harden and become strong, so too does God allow us to go through trials and challenges that refine us and make us stronger. These trials, though often painful, are not meant to break us. They are opportunities for growth, for transformation, for us to become more like the people God created us to be. Embracing the unfolding. Waiting for love can be incredibly difficult. It can feel like time is slipping away, like everyone else is moving on without us. But it is in these moments of waiting that we must learn to trust in God's timing. It is in the waiting that we grow in patience, in faith, and in our understanding of God's love for us. It is in the waiting that we learn to surrender our own plans and timelines to His perfect will. Instead of viewing this season of waiting as a time of emptiness or lack, we can choose to see it as a time of preparation, a time to deepen our relationship with God, and a time to become the best versions of ourselves. This is not about passively sitting on the sidelines waiting for love to magically appear. It's about actively engaging in the journey, trusting that God is working behind the scenes, even when we can't see it. The gift of the present moment. In our eagerness to find love, we often overlook the beauty and significance of the present moment. We become so fixated on the future, on what we hope for or what we fear, that we forget to cherish the gift of today. But what if this present moment is exactly where we need to be? What if the lessons we're learning, the experiences we're having, are all part of God's divine plan for preparing us for a love that will truly stand the test of time? Instead of constantly looking ahead, longing for what's to come, we can choose to embrace the present moment with open arms. We can find joy in the simple things, in the beauty of nature, in the laughter of friends, in the quiet moments of reflection and solitude. For it is in these seemingly ordinary moments that we often discover extraordinary grace, wisdom, and strength. It is in the present moment that we truly connect with ourselves, with God, and with the world around us. When we're single, it's easy to become consumed by the search for love. We make it our primary focus, allowing it to dictate our thoughts, our actions, and even our sense of self-worth. But what if we shifted our focus? What if instead of obsessing over finding the one, we poured our energy into becoming the best versions of ourselves? What if we pursued our passions, nurtured our talents, and invested in our personal growth with the same fervor that we chase after romantic love? This is not about ignoring our desire for love, but rather about shifting our perspective. It's about recognizing that our worthiness of love is not determined by our relationship status, but by our inherent value as children of God. When we focus on becoming the best versions of ourselves, we naturally attract others who are on a similar wavelength. We become beacons of light, radiating joy, confidence, and authenticity, which are far more attractive qualities than desperation or neediness. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to impatience and discontent. When we focus on what we lack, we only amplify our feelings of emptiness and longing. But when we cultivate a heart of gratitude, we begin to see the abundance of blessings that surround us. Take some time each day to reflect on the good things in your life. Express gratitude for your health, your family and friends, your talents, your opportunities, and even the challenges that have shaped you into the person you are today. As you practice gratitude, you'll find that your perspective begins to shift. You'll start to see the world through a lens of abundance rather than scarcity, and you'll be more likely to attract positive experiences and relationships into your life. Remember, love is not something we chase after, but something we attract by becoming the most loving and grateful versions of ourselves. The journey to finding love is not always easy. There will be times of loneliness, disappointment, and heartache. But it's important to remember that these difficult moments are not in vain. They are opportunities for growth, for resilience, and for deepening our faith. Instead of viewing this journey as a means to an end, we can choose to find joy in the journey itself. We can embrace the detours, the unexpected turns, and even the roadblocks, knowing that they are all part of a greater plan. We can find joy in the simple pleasures of life, in the company of good friends, in pursuing our passions, and in serving others. We can find joy in knowing that we are not alone on this journey, that God is walking beside us every step of the way. Remember, love is not a destination but a journey, and it is often in the most unexpected moments, when we least expect it, that love finds us. the transforming power of trust. Trust is the foundation of any strong relationship, especially our relationship with God. When we trust in God's timing, we surrender our own plans and timelines to His infinite wisdom and love. This doesn't mean that we passively sit back and wait for love to fall into our laps. It means that we actively engage in the journey, taking steps of faith and trusting that God is working behind the scenes to orchestrate our love story in ways we could never imagine. Trusting in God's timing requires faith, patience, and a willingness to let go of our own limited understanding. It means believing that God sees the bigger picture, that He knows our heart's desires, and that He has a plan for our lives far greater than anything we could ever dream up on our own. When we surrender to His timing, we open ourselves up to a love that is not only fulfilling but also transformative, a love that reflects His perfect will for our lives. A Sarah's story, finding love in unexpected places. Sarah had always dreamt of finding her soulmate. She envisioned meeting someone special at university, falling in love, and starting a family young. Yet, as the years passed and she navigated her 20s, she found herself still single, her heart heavy with unfulfilled longing. The societal pressures mounted, amplifying her insecurities and leading her to question God's plan for her life. "Why am I still alone?" she'd whisper, tears streaming down her face. Determined to take control, Sarah threw herself into her career, excelling in her field and finding solace in her accomplishments. She traveled, pursued her hobbies, and built a fulfilling life for herself. But the yearning for a partner remained. Little did she know, God was working behind the scenes, orchestrating a love story far more beautiful than she could have ever imagined. One ordinary Tuesday evening, while attending a volunteering event for underprivileged children, Sarah's life took an unexpected turn. She met James, a kind-hearted lawyer with a passion for social justice, who shared her love for helping others. They bonded over their shared values, their laughter echoing through the community center as they organized games and activities for the children. Sarah had never felt such a deep connection with anyone before. It wasn't a whirlwind romance, but a slow and steady burn, a love that grew organically from shared values, mutual respect, and a deep sense of purpose. Looking back, Sarah realized that the years she spent focusing on her personal growth, her career, and her relationship with God had prepared her for this very moment, for a love that was truly meant to be. The unexpected journey of David and Rachel. David had almost given up on love. After a string of relationships that ended in heartbreak, he convinced himself that he was meant to be single. He poured his energy into his work as a musician, his soulful melodies resonating with the pain of unrequited love. Yet, deep down, he yearned for a partner, someone to share his life's journey with. Rachel, on the other hand, had built walls around her heart. Haunted by the memory of a painful past relationship, she shied away from vulnerability, convinced that love only brought disappointment. She dedicated herself to her work as a therapist, finding solace in helping others heal their emotional wounds. Fate, however, had other plans. David and Rachel crossed paths at a local coffee shop, their initial encounter nothing more than a fleeting glance. Over the next few weeks, their paths continued to intersect, their mutual love for music drawing them together. David would often play his guitar at the coffee shop, his melodies weaving tales of longing and hope, while Rachel found herself inexplicably drawn to his music, her heart resonating with every note. Their friendship blossomed gradually, built on a foundation of shared passions and a deep understanding of each other's pain. It was through their shared vulnerability, their willingness to let down their guards, that love began to blossom. They realized that their past heartbreaks, though painful, had been necessary detours, shaping them into the people they were meant to be, ready for a love that was both healing and transformative. When patience leads to purpose, Mark's testimony. Mark had always been a man of faith. He believed in God's plan for his life, even when it came to love. But as he watched his friends get married, he felt left behind. He prayed for a wife, but the answer seemed silent. Instead of despair, Mark poured his energy into his community. He volunteered at a local homeless shelter, finding solace in helping others. His loneliness faded as he witnessed the power of love and kindness. One evening, Mark met Emily, a young woman with a heart as big as his own. Emily's passion for helping others mirrored Mark's own. They bonded over shared values, their conversations flowing effortlessly. Mark realized his waiting had not been in vain. It refined his character, deepened his faith, and led him to a love ordained by God. He found a partner who amplified his purpose, their love a testament to patience and faith. Mark and Emily's story reminds us that God's timing aligns our hearts with His purpose. Serving others and growing in faith prepares us for a love that blesses and empowers us to make a difference. Trusting the Tapestry lessons from real-life love stories. These stories, though unique in their own right, share a common thread: the transformative power of trusting in God's timing. They remind us that our love stories are not isolated chapters, but intricate threads woven into the grand tapestry of our lives. The seasons of waiting, though often challenging, are not wasted time. They are opportunities for growth, for self-discovery, and for deepening our relationship with God. They are the fertile ground where our hearts are prepared for a love that is not only fulfilling but also purposeful. Just as a tapestry's beauty lies in the intricate interplay of colors and textures, so too does the beauty of our lives lie in the intricate interplay of experiences, relationships, and seasons. Each thread, whether joyful or painful, contributes to the overall masterpiece. So, if you find yourself in a season of waiting, take heart. Embrace the present moment. Cultivate your passions, deepen your faith, and trust that God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating a love story that will take your breath away. Remember, you are not defined by your relationship status, but by your inherent worth as a child of God. And your love story, my friend, is just beginning. The tapestry of your love story. As we've journeyed together, exploring the profound wisdom of God's timing, we've encountered biblical truths and real-life examples that illuminate the path to a love worth waiting for. We've learned that our lives, like intricate tapestries, are woven together with threads of joy and sorrow, triumph and tribulation. Each experience, each relationship, each season of waiting contributes to the richness and beauty of the final masterpiece. The relentless ticking clock, the societal pressures that urge us to rush love, these are but fleeting illusions that fade in the light of God's eternal perspective. His timing, though often mysterious to our human minds, is always perfect. He sees the bigger picture, the intricate details of our lives, the desires of our hearts, and He orchestrates our love stories with a love, wisdom, and precision that surpasses our finite understanding. Instead of succumbing to impatience, to the fear of being alone, or the pressure to conform to societal expectations, we can choose to embrace the freedom that comes from surrendering to God's timing. We can choose to view our singleness not as a void to be filled, but as a season of preparation, a time to cultivate our passions, deepen our faith, and become the best versions of ourselves. Remember, you are not defined by your relationship status, but by your inherent worth as a child of God. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, created with a purpose and a destiny that extend far beyond the realm of romantic love. Embrace your singleness, cherish this season of growth, and trust that God is working behind the scenes, preparing you for a love that will truly make your heart sing. A love worth waiting for. The love stories we've encountered, from Sarah's unexpected encounter at a volunteering event, to David and Rachel's gradual connection through music, to Mark's discovery of purpose-driven love, all point to a profound truth. The greatest love stories are often those that unfold in God's perfect timing. This is not a passive waiting, a resigned acceptance of loneliness, or a fear of taking risks. It is an active engagement with life, a pursuit of personal growth, a deepening of our faith, and a willingness to trust in God's plan, even when we don't understand it. It's about becoming the most loving, joyful, and authentic versions of ourselves, attracting love not out of desperation, but out of the overflow of a heart that is content and complete in Christ. So, dear friends, as we conclude our exploration of God's timing, let us release the need to control, to manipulate, or to force love into our own predefined timelines. Let us instead embrace the freedom of surrendering to a love that is far greater than anything we could ever imagine, a love that is orchestrated by the divine artist who holds our hearts in His hands. trust in His timing, embrace the journey, and prepare to be amazed by the love story He is writing for your life. A love story that is both beautiful and messy, challenging and exhilarating. A love story that is worth waiting for. If this video encouraged you, please like, comment, and subscribe for more faith-based relationship advice. Share this video with someone who needs a reminder to trust God's timing. Stay blessed.